Hey, this is Woogie Boogie. As you can tell, I transferred servers and I had to change the spelling of my name. But this is the same Shaman. I hope this guide helps you out a little bit better than my last one. This one is going to be up to date as of 3.3.5. There's my talent build, basic 57-14 build. I do not have 2 points in improved Fire Nova. I don't see any point in it. I don't like padding meters for trash. I'd rather be more mana efficient for a boss fight. Bosses drop loot, trash drops silver. So that's the way I look at it. Shamans aren't really AoE efficient anyways, so I mean, what's one magma totem gonna do for trash other than pump up your ego? There's my glyphs. I mean, it's pretty all basic, self-explanatory. I'm not gonna go too big into that. Rotation. Yeah, there's my gear. Blah blah. It's not the best, whatever. But rotation. You want to start off with flame shock. Then you want to lava burst. Now, after your lava burst, this is very dependent on your haste. If your haste is under 1,000, I would suggest using a chain lightning. The reason for this being is that it's a faster cast. It costs more mana, but you will see a DPS increase using chain lightning. If you have over 1,000 to 1,200, which you don't want to go over 1,200, that's the cap. You don't want to go over that. Anything over that's pretty much useless. But anything around that area, that's when chain lightning becomes not as effective. So, I mean, whether to use chain lightning or not, it's up to your gear. Whether you'll see a DPS increase or decrease. And I'm talking about single target. Obviously, I'm at, what is that, 945 haste unbuffed. So I actually do see an increase in my DPS by using chain lightning. Just keep in mind that it does use more mana, even though you're using the clear casting after the lava burst. So after about 40%, your mana pool hits about 40%. You don't want to use chain lightning anymore. Just don't drain yourself out of mana. Also during heroism, bloodlust, whatever, if you use a haste potion and hyper accelerators, you get your haste kicked way up there. It'd probably be best to take chain lightning out of your rotation unless it's multiple targets. So to answer everyone's question about the chain lightning, oh my god, is it bad? Oh my god, is it good? What's going on? People tell me no, but I get more DPS. There's your answer. It just depends on your haste. So keep that in mind. Also, as a shaman, you want to watch your totems. I mean, your totems that's what shamans are for. I mean, that's your buffs. That's awesome. You get to pick your buffs. That's, your plus saying, don't screw it up. If you got a Death Knight in there blowing his horn, you don't want to drop Totem of Strength. They don't stack. So make sure you know your environment. Make sure you know your raid. Make sure you know when to drop what totems. When you're on Blood Queen Lanathel, make sure you got that Tremor Totem down for that fear. If you don't have a prop pally, make sure you've got Stone Skin down for the improved armor, etc., etc. I'm not going to go through each and every fight, every totem, but do the research. Make sure you know you're dropping the right totems when you're supposed to be. You don't want to be that noob shaman run around feared and everyone asking you why you don't have a Tremor Totem down. So make sure you keep that in mind. Let's see, some of my add-ons. I'll go over that real fast. I know I'm going to get a bunch of comments, as I always do, about my add-ons. So, Bartender 4 is what I use for my bar add-on. BTEX is the background blue bar in the bottom. I have let's see, Elementalariest. I can't say that right, but I'll have it all typed out at the end. That's pretty much my rotation little display on the left of my cast bar there, and my flame shock timer on the right. That's all that is. A lot of people say you're a noob if you use those. Personally, I mean, when you got a fight going on and there's 50 billion things going on around you, you're watching your health pool, you're watching your debuffs, you're watching where you're standing. I mean, your rotation should come second nature to you. You should have it memorized and, be able to just know exactly where you're at. But, I mean, a visual helper doesn't hurt, and it doesn't clutter up your screen, so I don't really see a problem with it. Elanco's buff bars. I use that so that I can make my self buff smaller and make my debuffs bigger, just for fights like Lich King or Syndragosa, Ruby Sanctum. Whenever, say you have a void zone on you or something, you need to get out of the raid. You don't want to be that idiot that drops the void zone right in the middle of the raid, so you want to make sure all your debuffs are very visual, very big. Also, I take my flame tongue and make that a little bit bigger, so I, also don't want to be that shaman, no weapon imbued, going into a fight. So that's also really nice. Omni CC, it's just the numbers over my bars. Quartz is my cast bar timer. Recount, obviously recount. DPS meter. Sexy map, so I can mod my map and move it. My unit frames, it's called shadowed unit frames. Just moves my picture. I can move it down, resize things, move buffs, move my target, to target, my focus, all that good stuff. Also, it puts a little colored totem timer down there underneath your picture. Makes it a lot better, I think personally. DBM's definitely a must if you're any type of a raider. But basically, when it comes down to add-ons, just use whatever you need. If you're having a debuff problem or something, you just can't see it, or you're not paying attention, get Power Aura Classics. You can make a Power Aura for something where a visual icon pops up, or there's a ton of thousands of add-ons out there. If you're having a problem with something, I'm sure there's an add-on out there to help you with that specific problem. So just because I don't have it or don't use it doesn't mean that it's not a good add-on or it's not worth using. And some of the add-ons I use you may find worthless or not worth using. See how I'm just standing here hitting this dummy? How many times in a raid do you actually just sit there and hit a dummy? You don't. Not very often. So why sit there and practice your rotation as if you're just going to be sitting there, which 99% of the time you're not. So what I like to do is I'll take some totems, spread them out, move them 20, 25 yards away, and just stand by one. Start lighting into the dummy, and then just throw a timer in your head or start your stopwatch and say every 20 seconds or 25 seconds or whatever, make a random number, and just run from totem to totem at every given point. This will help you with your movement. This is our biggest weakness as a shaman, or elemental shaman, is movement. When we move, we cannot cast. We can't really do anything. So being able to move efficiently is definitely a plus. You definitely want to practice that. Like I said, 99% of the fights you're going to be high movement. So make sure you get that down. While you're moving, make sure you're refreshing your flame shock. I know people sit there and tell you, don't clip your dots, but it's better to make sure that you don't have to recast flame shock during that given point that you can hold still. So when you're moving, you can't do anything anyways, so you might as well. Also, Thunderstorm's great, even though you don't hit the boss sometimes due to being enraged. You're getting mana back for that, so make sure you're doing that to keep it on cooldown. That way you're getting mana back. Refresh your water shield. Sorry. And if you're going to have a lot of movement or a burst movement, you can use your elemental mastery. That helps out, getting if your lava burst is about to be off cooldown, you can get a lava burst in while you're moving or whatever. Doesn't really matter. Just make sure you're using your cooldowns efficiently while you're moving. If you can get movement fights down, then you'll see a drastic increase in your DPS during actual raid times.